Yo, what's up, nerds? Welcome back to Deck to the Future. We're going to be looking at Obeka, Splitter of Seconds. So, 4 mana, 2/5 Menace. When she deals combat damage to a player, you get that many additional upkeep steps. So, this is really a build around, right? She's not doing that much by herself. It's really the cards in the deck that are gonna make this matter. Grixis is really good color pairing for this, so I'm excited to show off what so this is what I've come up with, right? So it's about $200, which I know Deck to the Future has generally been cheaper in the past, but I really think that there's some important cards. And another card, Shieldred the Apocalypse, really should make it into this deck, but that's like $70, and that would doubly kill the budget. So, Dragonmaster Outcast. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 6 or more lands, create a 5/5. So, Obeka swinging in is at least going to give you 2 more upkeeps. All right, if she connects, that's at least 2 more upkeeps. 2 more upkeeps means that's 2 more 5/5 dragons if you can get to the lands. Creeping Bloodsucker drains all your opponents for 1, and you regain equal to the amount they lost. So, just a way to keep your life total up and to drain out your opponents slowly. Stormfist Crusader. So when I said keep your life total up, we have a lot of cards like Stormfist Crusader where you're going to be drawing extra cards during your upkeep, but you'll also be losing life. So it's really important to have ways to regain it. Thassa's Oracle, in case you draw through your entire deck, or there is Demonic Consultation to combo off. Triskaidekaphile, having multiple upkeeps and multiple ways to draw cards, getting to 13 is actually like a plausible win con. Lab Maniac, just in case you draw through your deck. Starving Revenant. The first ability is okay, but the second ability, where when you draw, if there are 8 or more permanents in your graveyard, target opponent loses a life and you gain a life, really going to be able to turn that card draw into more value. Wildfire Devils will give you a spell from an opponent's graveyard, like an instant or sorcery, and you'll be able to cast it for free. Even with just 2 upkeeps, that's going to go absolutely crazy. Bonehoard Dracosaur, at the beginning of your upkeep, you exile the top 2, and then along with being able to cast them, you also get dinosaurs and treasure tokens, depending on what you exile. So if you're taking 2, 3 extra upkeeps, that's an additional 6 cards you can play this turn, and then that's either bodies for the field or treasure tokens to help you cast the cards you just exiled. Plargg and Nassari, so you'll be able to exile the top cards of your opponent's library until they get a non-land. You get to choose 2 without paying their mana costs. So 2, 3 extra upkeeps, that's an additional, like 6 spells you can cast for free? 4 spells you can cast for free? It doesn't matter what they are at that point, that's just a lot of value. Psychosis Crawler to help burn through our opponents, burn through their life, because we're drawing. Seizan, so sure, your opponents also get cards at their upkeeps, but if you're taking your first upkeep and then 2 extra upkeeps, you're drawing 6 additional cards. Helm of the Gods, there's a lot of enchantments in this deck, and also because Obeka needs to get bigger in order for you to take more upkeeps. Soul Ring for ramp, Arcane Signet for ramp. Conqueror's Fail to help you shut down your opponent so that they aren't countering your stuff when you're drawing a bajillion cards and whatever. Plus, it's a 3-color deck, so she'll get +3/+3. Cranial Plating, there's a good amount of artifacts in the deck too, so it's just another way to pump Obeka. Dimir Signet, Fellwar Stone, Izzet Signet, Lotus Bloom, so generally not a very good card. However, if you're taking 4 upkeeps a turn, you can then crack this for 4 mana. Or you hold on to it, do it again, crack it for 8 mana. This is one of the only decks I can think of where this actually goes kind of crazy. Mind Stone, Rakdos Signet, Talisman, of course. Fire Shrieker for double strike so that she can get in for double damage. Replication Ring. So, usually having to wait 8 turns to get it to copy itself is terrible. However, if we're just gonna say 4 upkeeps a turn, after 2 turns, we'll have, 9 total replication rings. So that's 9 extra mana to cast spells, Two-handed axe can either give her double strike or double her power. Either way, it's going to be super useful for getting in for more damage. Pact Weapon, this deck is a little bit top heavy, and not being able to lose the game for having 0 life is going to be nice. So it's keeping you from losing, it's drawing you cards, and it's also, what's it called? It's bumping Obeka. Drach'Nyen is removal, and it can pump Obeka. Embercleave gives double strike, and I mean, it's just a solid card. Demonic Consultation to combo with Thassa's Oracle. Spell Pierce for counterspell. Braid for removal. Impulse to help you get cards to hand. Rakdos Charm just for utility. Chaos Warp for removal. Dig Through Time. Partially because, Obeka does time magic, haha, but it's just a really good card. Ancestral Vision. So with Suspend, you remove the counters on your upkeep. So if you're taking 4 upkeeps the turn, this is literally just Ancestral Recall. Inevitable Betrayal, again, it's going to be a bribery for 3 mana. Super strong. Profane Tutor is basically just Demonic Tutor at this point. Wheel of Fate is just Wheel of Fortune, because we're going to be taking so many upkeeps. Feed the Swarm for removal. Night's Whisper is draw. Sign in Blood is draw. Rousing Refrain is a shit ton of mana, and also being able to suspend it, we're going to be able to get it off of suspend way sooner than 3 turns. Same with Inspiring Refrain. Treasure Cruise for draw. Blasphemous Act is a board wipe. Aqueous Forum, just to stop Obeka from getting blocked. Mob Mentality. So there's only so many creatures in the deck. However, this could really bump her up if you need to win the game. However, you will get more creatures with things like Bitter Blossom, where 4 upkeeps is 4 1/1 fairies, which is pretty good. As Foretold will go crazy, basically just making the first spell each turn free, because you're gonna be putting counters on it so fast. Descent into Avernus is a win con and a shit ton of extra mana, so if you play it on your main phase, right, and then Obeka swings in for 3, you create 2 treasure tokens, then you create 4 treasure tokens, then you create 6 treasure tokens. So you've got 12 mana to do anything, and then you've also burnt the entire table for 12. Goes kind of nutty. Out of the tombs, you will be milling your deck super fast. This is another reason to have Lab Maniac, and then because of it, you could then get Thassa's Oracle back and win with Out of the Tomb Thassa's Oracle. Phyrexian Arena, just being able to draw extra cards. Protection Racket, again, just getting extra cards. Your opponent could maybe pay for a couple spells to not go to your hand, but I mean, when you just keep doing it, it's going to get insane. Wild Wasteland, so this is just a whole bunch of extra cards that you can just cast. So you'll start your turn by exiling 2, and then you swing in with Obeka. Just say you get 2 extra combats, that's an extra 4 cards you can play this turn. Court of Lochthwain, so the courts are actually really good in this deck. So you become the Monarch, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, you exile the top card of an opponent's library and can play it. And if you're the Monarch, you can play it without casting its mana cost, or without paying its mana cost, which is good enough, but Obeka takes those extra upkeeps after combat, so you can almost guarantee you're going to be the Monarch in those after combat main phases. This is just free spells. You can Court of Vantress, so if you are the Monarch, you get to create a copy of an artifact or enchantment, and if you're not, it becomes a copy of an artifact or enchantment. Like I said, since it's post-combat upkeeps, you're probably going to be the Monarch, and you're just going to keep gaining value, creating, just say, Soul Rings. Just create a copy of Soul Ring, get 2 extra Soul Rings, that's pretty good. Psychic Vortex, so during your upkeep, you draw a card for each upkeep it's been out because of cumulative upkeep, and at the beginning of your end step, you sacrifice a land and discard your hand. Sure. Alright, that seems bad. Discarding your hand seems bad. However, we're going to be playing certain cards from exile, and we're going to be refilling our hand so readily that it basically doesn't even matter. So, main phase, or upkeep 1, we draw an extra card, then we draw for turn, then upkeep 2 and 3, we would draw 2 cards, then we draw 3 cards. It gets out of hand. The Ruinous Powers exiles chooses an opponent at random, exiles the top card of their library, and until end of turn you can pay it, or you can cast it using mana as if it was mana of any color. And when an opponent, when you cast that spell, an opponent loses life equal to its mana value. So this is just like 2-3 extra cards you can cast each turn. Revel in Riches. When an opponent's creature dies, you create a treasure. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more treasures, you win the game. This is going to make your opponent think twice about blocking because, well, if they don't, or if they do block, they can lose creatures, and you might just have enough for your after combat upkeep to win the game. Virtue of Pestilence, basically, it's removal, and at the beginning of your upkeep, which you're taking multiple, you can put a creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So it's kind of crazy. You're just going to keep stealing your opponent's creatures and just building up your board, and it'll basically get out of hand. Access Tunnel. So Obeka starts with 2 powers, so as long as she starts the turn at 2 power, you can use Access Tunnel and then equip her with stuff, so that she can't be blocked, because it only checks the power 3 or less when you activate the ability. Pajuka Bog for removing graveyards, Canyon Slow, Command Tower, Crumbling Necropolis, Ferris Lake, Firely Idlet, Islands, Mountains, Roadside Reliquary, because there's a good amount of enchantments and artifacts in the deck. Rogue's Passage lets Obeka get in for free, Shadowblood Ridge, Shivan Reef, Smoldering Marsh, Sulphur Falls, Sunken Hollow, Swamps, Teetering Peaks to pump Obeka, and Blackgate to help Obeka get in to deal damage. The one thing this deck probably is missing is like Swiftfoot, Lightning Greaves. Some way to protect Obeka could probably be a good addition, along with, like I said, Shieldred, because if you're drawing so many cards, you need to be regaining that life in some way, and or just gaining life in general is going to be good. But that's how I would build Obeka. I guess if we were to kind of a bad deck to play a test hand for, but Canyon Slow would enter tapped, go to turn 2, Access Tunnel into Izzet Signet into turn 3. We don't have a land for turns. We'd probably run out. No, we would go 1, 2. Use the red on Helm of the Gods. Use the blue and Canyon Slow for black to play Creeping Bloodsucker to help drain our opponents. We're getting fucked on lands, so we're gonna go Protection Racket. Beginning of our next. So we go draw for. Oh wait, sorry. So we go boop boop boop. Our opponent would probably exile those by paying life, so we draw for turn. Yeah, not. That made it look worse than it is, but this deck has a lot of potential. The way I see it, I think maybe I could have gone too far in on the upkeep thing, but let me know what y'all think, how you'd be building this, all of the above, and I'll see you later.